Okay, good Yontef. It's like Baimer, Yemilula, the Rashbi's day. He said we should be happy. And his day of his passing away, but that needs an explanation. But I know I'm going to talk about it. At one hand, it says that the Silukam Shal Tzadikim, the passing of a tzaddik, is like the destruction of the temple. And some sense even worse than that. And here, Rashbi is saying to make it a happy day. Why the Rashbi said to make it a happy day? And why by that tzaddikim we are fasting when the day of the Yortzeit? But this is just for food for thought. The main thing is that Schus of Rashbi should be revealed now with Mashiach now. Okay, just want to start with say something a little light, kind of a word, what hit me last night, sitting by the fire, like Baimer. So I'm looking, what's happening at fire? What's the fire doing? Fire is burning the wood. So you're taking a beautiful piece of wood and you make it into nothing, to ashes. You separate the four elements, fire, water, air, and earth, and now is left nothing, a little bit of ashes. You're nullifying the wood. What happens when you nullify the wood? It becomes warm and gives light. So what is even a simple little wood, piece of wood? If he's nullifying himself, and being nullified, he gives warmth and heat and light. That's the science of life, warmthness and light. But if something is not nullifying itself, this is the opposite. Before it's not been put under fire, it's cold. You could hurt yourself from that. So we see the advantage of the nullification of humility. If wood could, by nullifying itself, gives light and warmth, for sure, by a person, if we're being humbled, he'll be give much more light and much more warmth to the whole world. That's just a vote for like Baimer vote. The idea. In this week's Parsha Behar, it's very interesting. It seems like a completely contradiction. Number one, we told this Behar Sinai. Hashem gave it here on the Har Sinai. At the same time, we're telling us that it was the smallest mountain. So you want the big mountain, you want a mountain. If you want the smallest mountain, make it in a straight place or in a valley, even more humble. No, it's going to be on a mountain, but the smallest mountain. So two opposite: mountain high, but the smallest mountain. Okay, so that means that there's an idea of bringing these two things together completely. Be a mountain, be big, great, and be completely humble. We'll see how that. We'll see that in the life of Rashbi, and we'll see that in the whole idea of Torah, that idea, these two opposites are how they're going together. Let's look further in our Parsha. That's the name, Behar, so the mountain and the lowest mountain. Then you have in the Parsha of Mitzvah Shemitah, 7th year that you're not allowed to walk the field. You have to let it go completely hefker. Everybody could come and take whatever they want. Then once in 5th, that's every 7th year. Then on every 50th year, you have Yevel. 50th year is also like Shemitah. You're not allowed to plant and you're not allowed to take away the food, to leave it for everybody. So that is an approach of what the Eibishter is running the world. The Eibishter will give you, don't worry, you could act completely beyond nature. Don't work. By the end of the 6th year, you cannot work, now the 7th years, and then that was for almost like 2 years that you need food, and you need it in 3 years. Rely on the Eibishter. The Eibishter will give you. So it's completely so-called abstract, removed from the world, above the world. On the other hand, we have the idea, was talking about that you have to be slave, you have to free them, the other years you have to work. So we're seeing here the opposite. On one hand, we're saying completely relying on the Eibishter, and on the other hand, we're saying completely speaking, being practical to be down to earth. That's for the Parsha. Now look at the life of Rashbi, also full of similar idea, full of contradictions. First of all, he was a master in Nigla the Torah. And there's not one chapter in Mishnayos in the whole of Shisha Sidra Mishnah, the 6 books of Mishnahs, that Rashbi is not mentioned. Every chapter is mentioned. So he was like very big in Nigla. At the same time, he was very great in the Nister, in the secrets of Torah. He wrote the Zohar. To we say that the giving of the Torah of Kabbalah, of the secrets of Torah, Matan Torah of Sedis Torah, that was is unlike Beimer. So he contains the complete revealed Torah and completely hidden Torah. People beside all the Tanoim beside him, all the great people who were masters in Nigla, we don't see so much about them about Nister Torah. People we see that they were masters in Kuni Ben Akone, for example, great in Nister, find very little bit about Nigla. But some is be completely, absolutely a giant in Nigla the Torah and in Nister the Torah, well, because by nature they are two opposites. It's the quality of it, the whole approach to that is completely two opposites. But Rashbi combined the two opposites completely. The highest level, the Nigla the Torah, as you mentioned last week, that Rashbi said that Akiva said, for you it's enough that I and your creator know your power. We're talking about even the Nigla the Torah. It was higher than Rabbi, but nobody knew. Let's look further. There's an interesting machlekes in Mishnayos between Rabbi Rashbi, Shimon ben Yochai, and Rabbi Shmuel. It says in Pasuk Leyamush Sefer HaTorah Zeh Mipicha, that this learning Torah must never stop from your mouth. In simple words, the mitzvah is you have to learn day and night. Every second you have to sit and learn. So Rashbi said, means literally that you mustn't worry about parnasa, mustn't go to work, sit and learn 24/7. And when somebody does what the Rebbe wants, the Rebbe will give you provide. Rabbi Shmuel says, no, the pasuk doesn't mean literally that you should learn the whole time. Hanek by minik derech eretz. You should behave normally, have a job, have a field, work with as much as you need to work to have parnasa, right? And the rest of the time that you learn Torah. So that's the machlekes of Rashbi and Rabbi Shmuel. So you see here also, so what do we see here? That Rashbi is completely like removed from the world, right? He said, learn day and night, and if you do what Hashem wants, Rabbi will take care of you. And Rabbi Shmuel says, no, it's down to, and the Gemara continues to say that how be'asru Rashbi, many people try to do the system of Rashbi, to sit and learn, and the Rabbi will provide. But they also wasn't successful. They did not have parnasa, it didn't work out. And then the Gemara says, how be'asru Rashbi, Rabbi Shmuel, like Rabbi Shmuel, who said to work and to learn Torah, also was successful. So what do we see from here? That Rashbi was completely removed from the Torah, but like more, say, a Kabbalist, mystic, completely removed out of this world. Then, okay, so that seems that Rashbi is taking a certain direction. But then Rashbi says that if somebody who halachically cannot learn day and night, for example, either because he's an ignoramus or because he doesn't have the time, so by reading the Shema in the morning and the evening, Shachris and Arvis, in the morning and evening saying Parsha or one Parsha of Shema, he's fulfilling the mitzvah of learning day and night. Complete opposite of what he said before. And the idea of saying Shema could be even, according to some, means it could be even one verse. But for sure, if you say the whole Krishma, if that's what you are able to do, that's a lot. It's enough. So again, we're saying, in one hand, he was expecting people to be completely 24/7, completely removed from the world and learning Torah. The other hand is saying, no, if it's necessary, to say only the Kriya Shema, the reading Nishma morning and night, and that's good enough. Then we see another idea by him. says, but Rashbi was in a level, says in Kisvei Arizal, he was beyond destruction. Destruction of English did not happen in his realms, in his world, in his life. He was completely beyond destruction. He had Behem was shining the godliness exactly like when the Beis Hamikdash was. Right? That was in one hand. On the other hand, the only Tanya that we know that had to hide for 12 years, and then it said for 13th year, whatever, since we get to that, was Rashbi. That means in him, you saw the Chum in the most way that he had to run away from the Romans because he said something called offending them in a certain way, so they were trying to get him. And when he was in the cave, he was not living in the best condition, didn't have a 5-star hotel over there. He ate carrots, for the Rama said carrots is not healthy to eat. He ate for 13 years, he had to live in carrots and water. According to tradition, the cave is in a village called Pekin, not far from Iran. I hear today it's dangerous to go there. That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true, but I remember when I was a kid, one time we went there, and there is a cave. It's a small cave, and there is a carob tree not far from it, 10 meters, 20 meters, and there's a well over there. So he lived from that. If it's true that we're not sure 100%, I don't think so, but he lived in carob, and so that, and he didn't have clothing, so a whole week they would sit in the sand, him and his son alone, and for Shabbos they put on the clothes. So you could say if somebody that had the conditions of the destruction had an effect on him is Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, and he was saying no, the opposite. But him the whole destruction didn't happen. He was completely beyond destruction. It's not two opposite what we see. In the person living on two opposites completely. Then let's look how his approach is for the world. When he came, after 12 years, when they came out from the cave, and officially they were allowed to go free, probably they knew that. So it says that when they saw that people are plowing and planting and working in physical world, so they burned it, they destroyed everything. Just by looking at it, they burned the fields. They said, well, how could a person live learning Torah, eternal life, and be busy with something mundane and something short-term and physical? So they burned it. So came out a baskel, a voice from heaven said, "You coming to destroy my world? Go back." Because they went back into the cave for another year. After they came out of the 13th year, said his son Rabbi was still destroying things, and Rashbi used to fix it. Whatever he felt he burned, Rashbi was fixing it. Not only he didn't burn it like in the year before, but what his son destroyed, he built it back up. He brought it back. He fixed it up. That means he's completely involved and completely see that he will need, and told his son, as for me, it's enough for the world that me and you are learning completely in Torah completely, but they have to work in that world. So again, he's able to be completely beyond the world, if you want to call it, and completely not only not to destroy, but even to fix. And then after that, when he came out after 13 years, not only he didn't destroy, and as we said, for the beginning, he fixed till Rebbe Elazar, he stopped Rebbe Elazar from destroying, he fixed whatever Rebbe Elazar destroyed. He said, is there something that needs to be fixed? In other words, not something came to his attention by a divine providence, and then he said, he was looking for something to fix, something that needs to fix. So he told him there's a failed, based on pras, there's a suffix of tumid, something impurity, and the Kehanim has to go around, it's a whole bother for them. And he went to fix that. So he was not removed from the world, and he was appreciating what's happening in the world, but he was looking for things to fix in the world. And he fixed things in the world. And furthermore, we say that he said, I could free the whole world from judgment. When this field was impure, that would happen because of something that happened by mistake. But when a person has sinned, even purposely, he said, I could free him from judgment. It means he was completely reaching the lowest level. We put it in simple words, he was in the highest of the high, and he reached the lowest of the low, to affect the lowest of the low. So how does a person combine two opposites? If you're a person, like Rabbi was a scholar, not only a scholar, his whole life was learning Torah, Nigla, Nister, and that was when he's to a point that he held that everybody should do it that way in a certain time at least. He felt that way. Probably after the experiment with Rabbi Shmuel, people did like Rabbi Shmuel. It looks like he changed his mind. Told him, no, you guys could work, but for him, so he's completely removed. At the same time, he's completely involved in the world. That means to look, something needs to be fixed. If something is destroyed, it'll be fixed. To look for something to fix and fix it. Another story when it brings about him says that there was a Talmud, a student of the Arizal, who was obviously a good student of the Arizal. So he was mamish longing for the third Beis Hamikdash, and after the destruction, after the destruction with exile, and to a point he used to say Nachem. Nachem is the prayer that we say on Tisha B'Av, asking the Eibusher should comfort us and to rebuild the Torah. He used to say it every day in benching. It's another opinion in Kabbalah. He used to say it in Shemoneh Esrei, but at least everybody agrees he used to say it every day. What means every day, even Shabbos, even Yom Tov, when you don't say Tachna. He was praying and asking and longing for the third Beis Hamikdash, for Mashiach. One year, he came to Miron for Lag Beimer. This is a place for, and he said of the Nachem, either in Shemoneh Esrei or in benching. And Rabbi says over there in the Kabbalah that Rabbi was upset with him. How could you come to my place on my yahrzeit? I said to be the happy day, where in my level there is no destruction, and you are mourning the destruction. My joy of my not feeling the destruction and having a revelation that beyond destruction should have touched you, that you shouldn't have said Nachem. And it seems said that it hurted the person, that it passed away. We don't know if it passed away right away, or a few days later, or a few weeks later. So we see that there's something that Rabbi not only was beyond destruction, but he expected, and he not expected because that was the truth, that his simcha, his joy, should affect everybody. Even somebody who feels the destruction shouldn't feel the destruction. And somebody who felt the destruction would have to be so passed away. Well, that's the question: why making him to pass away? Tell him that it's wrong what you're doing, but what you're making him to pass away? Why? He's crying for a good thing for the Beis Hamikdash. So you have a big revelation that by you there's no destruction. Okay, but he didn't feel it. So either make sure he should feel it, or tell him what to do that he should be able to turn into that. But so we'll get maybe to that. But the idea that we see here that his revelation, on one hand, he was so removed from the world, on the other hand, had to affect the world in the lowest level, as I said, in an impure field, in everything to fix whatever Rabbi Elazar destroyed, to free the world from judgment, to see in that. Now let's go to, so we see by Rabbi combining the two absolute extreme opposites, from the highest of the high to the lowest of the low. How could you do it? If by nature you're a person that you want to learn, so your life will be learning, and hopefully you have a father-in-law that a father will be able to support you, and you'll be able to sit and learn, or the Rebbe will make a miracle to be able to learn. But how be completely, for him, in be involved in completely in fixing the world? So the Rebbe explains a very interesting idea. If you are learning because you enjoy the learning, even you enjoy the spirituality, the godliness of the learning Torah, then if you're a learner, that's your whole life, so you cannot be involved in the world. If your complete idea is the idea of to fix the world, think like the idea of Issachar and Zvulun. Issachar was learning. Zvulun was business. Of course, they learned also, but mainly there was business. So if you're one kind of a person, if you're a Issachar kind of a person, but that's a character, that's a tribe, a character of a personality, then you'll be learning more. but completely learning. And Zvulun will support you. Zvulun, his character, he has to work and to make the fix the physical world, not be removed from the world, to fix and transform the physical world to a proper place. Like Rabbi, fix the field that has a suffix tumah, that not only Israelite could go there, not only Levim could go there, but even Kehanim could go there and live there. It means not take the lowest level to make it a dwelling place for the Eibishter. How do you combine the two opposites? The Rabbi explains very much. If you're doing it because that's what your leniency of your character, of your personality, then of course either you'll be one side or the other side. But when you're completely nullified to the Eibishter, all what you want to do, what the Eibishter wants you to do, that's what is your whole being is completely nullified. Only what you want to do with the Eibishter, to do what the Eibishter wants, then you could do opposites. The Eibishter wants you to learn, I'll learn. The Eibishter wants me to do a dwelling place in this world, so I'll do that. The Eibishter wants him to be together. So the Eibishter wants that your whole learning, the whole everything is to make a dwelling place for God in the world. So in the learning, there was completely an idea of making a dwelling place for the Eibishter. So he's completely in learning and completely involved in making a dwelling place for the Eibishter. Why? Because he doesn't exist. Not physically doesn't exist, but in his feeling, in his, he doesn't exist. He's completely nullified to the Eibishter, what the Eibishter wants. So the Eibishter wants we should learn Torah and be completely involved with learning Torah. And through that, becoming, can affect the world to make a dwelling place for the Eibishter. That's an interesting word. That today we have to prepare to learning Torah, especially learning Pnimis Torah, because Mashiach is coming. In order there shouldn't be a shock to our system. The Rambam says as that there's going to be the Elon Kim and Haganeg, the world will continue normally. So in order should be normally, so you have to be involved now in learning a lot of Torah and also learning a lot of Pnimis Torah. That you shouldn't be a shock. It should be Elon Kim and Haganeg. You go up to a higher level, but still you're not completely in a shock, completely changing your thing. And could be even that fact that we have social material world so much. Right, that it says that the Mashiach will come. There will be all madanim kofar, all the pleasurable things will be like available like dust. So that's where it's already now, because the Mashiach shouldn't have a shock when suddenly will come all the plentiful of everything good. So you have to prepare for Mashiach. But the understanding what we're saying is that Rabbi Kiva, Rabbi, he was completely bottled to the Eibishter. He said, "Bechat K'tiris Katan," in one unity I'm connected with the Eibishter, and therefore he was able to combine two hafachim. And that could be only completely nullified, means the essence is completely revealed, the essence how you are one with the Eibishter. Share with you a little story. When I was in Cheder, 11 years old, we're learning Tanya. Start to learn Tanya then, a little bit of Tanya. So it says in the end of the first page of Tanya, if somebody is mevatel Torah, somebody has a chance to learn Torah, and is not learning, so what says it brings a source of that Dvar Hashem Baza is embarrassing the words of the Eibishter, and he chorus to chorus, and it be chorus. And then we are told that for sure there could be, I've mentioned the story before. So what chance do we have? So we're saying, first of all, it could be how much you could learn. If you're not able to learn, you have to go through the chinuch, the system, to train yourself to learn more and more. But the idea is when you realize that you want to be the Eibishter, so all your dissents, all your failures, all your affairs ultimately be transformed, guaranteed. That's maybe, probably, every Jew, if everything will be fixed up. So I want to take it a little bit, something I don't have a source for that, but it could be interesting. The Talmidim of Rabbi Kiva, who were same, could be in the same class, could be Reb Shimon Bar Yochai just survived them, but he was already a Talmid from before, according to some places, mashma. When they passed away, we asked last time a question, why didn't they do tshuva? So I would say that they did tshuva, but they felt that they couldn't They couldn't see in their friends that their friends are doing the maximum. That doing for my character, I'm the best. For my friend, that his is the best. They couldn't combine two opposites. I'm a Yisrach, he's a Zvulun. I'm just going to give I'm Chesed, he's Gvur, or vice versa. So they said, if we cannot internalize it, the two opposites means we are missing the essence of Torah. Then our existence, that level has to disappear. And in order to be able to go to the higher level, and I would say the higher level, the neshamas, I'm saying it completely without this, is the neshamas of the 5 Talmidim after that were the embodiment of their neshamas who took him to a higher level. And that's why we don't have a revelation, any saying from them, any halachas from them, because their level was to have a revelation, and then to pass away means to become consumed in the Eibush that can be completely bottled, and then be able to combine two opposites. So this could be the 5 Talmidim were able to do it in the physical world. But the other Talmidim couldn't do it in the physical world. So that's what they want to say. If we cannot do it in the physical world, we have to pass away. And then to be able to come to the higher level. So it's not looking in a negative way, this for punishment. Of course, we have to learn the lesson, because now we got from the other Talmidim, the Torah that we have is from the 5 Talmidim, Rabbi Kiva after that. Therefore, we are able to combine it together. So, but in other words, we have the ability today to see, to combine the two opposites, to be completely nullified. As I said, the Rabbi said that the Mashiach will come before Tchias HaMesim, according to Kabbalah, everybody will have to die and then be resurrected. Why do we have to die? Why have to die? Same as with Talmud. Because the Torah that we're learning today is heavily, it's like a smoke compared to Torah Mashiach, compared to the teaching of Torah that we learn when Mashiach comes. So in order to get that transaction, we have to pass away. So the Rabbi is saying, by today, by being so long in Golus, we're able to go through that just in an emotional state of nullification, but not physically to be able to have to die. And then to go up to the higher level of Torah, the higher level of Torah of Mashiach. Okay. So now I want to touch, so let's summarize basically what we're saying, that Behar, the Parsha Behar combines Shemitah, Yevel, not working beyond the world, right? And then connects the idea of working in the world to be completely beyond the world, relying completely on miracles and completely be in the world. And that was the idea of Rashbi, to be completely bottled to the Eibishter, and he's able to reveal that level completely being one with the Eibishter into us, even in the lowest level, wherever we are. And therefore we could combine the two things, be completely beyond the world and completely in the world. Because you go to business to work, and practically what it means, I hope I'm explaining it. Go to business, go to work, and when you are in business, completely see it. The idea of serving the Eibishter, that's completely, there's completely 100% the world and completely beyond the world. And you could see it in your life, that's mamish in nature, completely beyond nature. That means Havaya Elik Shema Yisrael, listen Israel, Havaya, Hoya Heveviye, was, is, and will be, that beyond nature is the Lekeinu, is Keichenu V'chayisenu, is our strength and our life. That about Jude, in nature is completely beyond nature. Not that it's beyond nature, this is beyond nature. It's not a malach. You don't want to be a malach. Is in nature completely, and in nature is completely beyond nature. Now I want to point out one more point. It's an interesting idea to think. We have in history, we have so many unbelievable things. We have the Ovis, we had Matan Torah, we had Moshe Rabbeinu, we had the Yom Tevim, the 3 Regalim, and every Yom Tov we're saying Malim Bakedi is going to a higher level and a higher revelation of godliness. We have Chanik, Purim, Chanukah, the Jewish people had Mesiras Nefesh at a higher level. And then you have that so many Jewish people gave up their life for the sake of Hashem's name. And all that is building up. We are going higher and higher every day. We're getting ready for the revelation of Mashiach. And we are ready, the Rebbe said. That's in one edge. So we're going high, and we say the Rashbi, like Behar, is every year it's in a higher level. And it's affecting us, coming into us. But then the Gemara tells us, you don't have a day, there's no day that the darkness is not more than the day before. That is darkness. More say to that to finish by Shavuos. Every day is a higher darkness, is a deeper darkness and a stronger darkness. How do you reconcile that? Either you're going every day higher, and because all the good things that is done in history from the beginning of time till now is existed. Every mitzvah is eternal. All the negativity being cleansed, disappeared, it's nothing. And still we're going to higher darkness. Why is it so? I think we mentioned it, but just want to finish that every day we're going to a deeper level of darkness that was never touched before and transform that to light. And with that, and for that, we need all the keches of all the history of us to connect with the essence of the neshama of a Jew that is one with the Eibishter, and therefore we could and we are transforming the lowest level of the darkness into light, to the point that with Rashbi will bring that could rely on him, Shasatchak, to bring the revelation of the Mashiach now. Beniske zen sich mit Reben beguf gash midolamata v'yivelenu. A good yontif, and to see you immediately in the base of Hamikdash in Kedesh HaKadosh. Call to.